brought television crews and reporters from all around to descend upon Point Pleasant. Mary Hyre would again encounter a strange little man dressed in an all-black suit and tie during the Christmas week of 1967. Hyre would describe him as dark-skinned and looking vaguely oriental, having high cheekbones, narrow eyes, and an undefinable accent. He wanted to talk to Miss Hyre about the local UFO sightings in the area, and not about the recent Silver Bridge disaster. Being too busy to talk with him on the matter, she handed him a file with the UFO newspaper clippings. The man in the black kept insisting on talking to her directly. She finally dismissed him from her office. That same day, homes of several witnesses who reported UFO activity were visited by a man identical to the one Miss Hyre saw and spoke to. He claimed to be a reporter from Cambridge, Ohio, although he inadvertently admitted that he did not know where Columbus, Ohio was, even though the towns are only a few miles apart. He would leave the witnesses with a feeling of uneasiness. The Silver Bridge tragedy would mark the end of the year-long Mothman activity, which included strange lights in the sky and paranormal activity. As in the Flatwood Monsters case, an owl would be suggested as the animal everyone had been seeing, as well as a sandhill crane. One inescapable fact is that the majority of the Mothman witnesses were not disbelieved by their peers, who could probably judge best if they were lying or perpetrating a hoax. They generally saw something. The question is, what was that something? Was it an identifiable animal, or was it something that has no earthly explanation? In the Pine Barrens of the state of New Jersey, stories have sprung up about the existence of a flying creature that has terrified people for hundreds of years. As many as 2,000 people claim seeing this creature since its earliest appearances in the 1700s. To this day, people go into the New Jersey Pine Barrens in search of it. The Jersey Devil has a professional hockey team named after him, and the stories of its existence predate the founding of the United States of America. Not unlike a Greek myth, there are many variations on the creature's origin story. The two most often mentioned stories are Miss Leeds of Estiville, New Jersey, was so distraught in finding out she was pregnant with her 13th child, she cursed it by saying, let this one be a devil. When it was born, it had horns, tail, and wings, and a horse-like head. The other story has the creature born in Burlington, New Jersey in 1735. This variation has Mother Leeds being a witch and the child's father being the devil. When the child was born, it looked normal, but then changed its form to a creature with a tail, hooves, bat-like wings, and a horse-like head. It beat everyone present in the house and flew out the chimney. Some versions have the creature killing all those who were in the house. It flew around the villages and then headed towards the Pine Barren forest. In 1740, it was said a clergyman exorcised the Jersey Devil, and it was not seen again in the area for 100 years. Despite the many variations of the story, there are several points that are common to these stories. One part is the name Leeds. It always comes up whether it's the name of the mother or the birthplace at Leeds Point. Shrouds is the other name mentioned for the birth mother. Historical records have found a Daniel Leeds opened land in Great Egg Harbor, New Jersey in 1699, and a Samuel Shrouds Sr. came to Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey in 1735. Daniel Leeds moved his family to Leeds Point, and Samuel Shrouds lived across the river from them. Writings referring to a devil in Burlington in 1735 have also been uncovered. Also, Burlington was a term used to not only identify that New Jersey town, but that general area all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. This would include Leeds Point and Estiville. There is even a report by Ben Franklin of a witchcraft trial at Mount Holly, New Jersey in 1730, which is in the nearby area. The folk tales of the devil's origins gives us the starting point for the sightings, but no clear evidence as to what it was. Some type of animal, supernatural being, or a deformed child, or a mixture of these. An early 1800s commander, Stephen Decatur, was testing cannonballs on a firing range when he saw a strange creature flying in the sky. He fired a cannonball at it and hit it, but it just kept on flying across the field. From 1859 to 1894, the Jersey Devil would be seen many times in the area of the Pine Barrens, and the death of townsfolk, chickens, and sheep would be attributed to the creature. It was even noticed by visitors to the Pine Barrens that the townspeople were afraid to go outside after dark. 1909 would be the busiest year in Jersey Devil sightings. In 1 week, it would be seen by over 1,000 people from New Jersey to Philadelphia. It would start on Sunday morning, January 16th. Zach Cozzens of Woodsbury, New Jersey, would see a flying creature with glowing eyes coming down the street in Bristol, Pennsylvania. John McCowan would hear and see a strange creature on the banks of a canal. The postmaster of Bristol would see a bird-like creature with a horse's head and piercing scream. On Monday the 17th, the Loudons of Burlington, New Jersey, would find hoof tracks around their half-eaten trash, as well as in the yards of nearly every resident in town. The tracks would start and stop in different places, as if the creature flew off or just disappeared. On Tuesday the 18th, professional hunters would track the creature's hoofprints for 20 miles in Gloucester, New Jersey. The tracks indicated that the creature jumped 5-foot fences and went under 8-inch spaces. A group of people in Cadman, New Jersey, would see the creature. It barked at them and then flew into the air. On Wednesday the 19th at 2:30 a.m., Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Evans of Gloucester awoke to strange noises. Looking out the window, they were able to view the Jersey Devil for 10 minutes. Mr. Evans stated it was about 3.5 feet high, with a head like a collie dog and a face like a horse. It had a long neck, wings about 2 feet long. Its back legs were like those of a crane. It had horse's hooves. It walked on its back legs and held up 2 short front legs with paws on them. It didn't use the front legs at all when they were watching. Mr. Evans said, "My wife and I were scared, I tell you, but I managed to open the window and say shoo. It turned around, barked at me, and flew away." By the week's end, the creature's numerous sightings would cause drivers of trolleys in Trenton and New Brunswick to arm themselves. The West Collingwood Fire Department would fire their hose at the creature. Police in Cadman would shoot at it, and a school in Mount Ephraim would close because no parents would let their children out on the streets. Mills and factories also closed in Gloucester and Hainesport. People were not leaving their houses. Life would eventually return to normal as the sightings subsided, but it seems the creature would return periodically. It is said the sighting continues even unto this day. Thank you for your interest in this show, and may God bless and keep you.
The Revelation 13 podcast is hosted by Mike Hopwood and is a podcast dedicated to the study of end-time events, news events, and ancient mysteries.